Hi everybody, it's Derek from 9D Diagnostics. Today I'm going to show you how to, after you replace your fuel filter, what to do so the engine starts up first time and runs perfectly. So you don't get this happening where the engine maybe will run for a couple of seconds and then it conks out, and then, or you just get this straight away where it's just turning over and over and it's not going to start and it's never going to start. In actual fact, you're probably going to drain the battery before you even get the car to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a simple way of bleeding out the fuel filter in place, and you can do this on any car, and you won't have this type of issue. Now what's going to happen here is we're going to log a fault code. It's going to see probably low pressure on the system, so you're going to have to probably go in and delete an error code, because it might put a light on the dash and then something small turns into a major headache. So let's crack on with it and I'll show you what we do. Okay, so first thing we need to do is actually locate the fuel filter on the car. This car, it's just right here. It's easy enough to get at. Some cars are a little bit more awkward, but this one is quite easy to find. So we want to find, there's two pipes on it and we need to identify what they are. So the easiest way is to trace them. So this pipe here, it runs all the way down and it runs down to the tank. So we know this is the pipe that's coming in and filling up the filter. So then this pipe here is the pipe that's coming out and going up to the fuel pump, which is just here. So what we want to do is we want to remove this pipe and then suck up and fill this up with diesel. Now what we use is quite simple. We use this object here. This is what we use, and this is for draining oil out of a sump. We don't really use it because I don't think they're that fantastic and they don't get all the oil out. We will use that because it creates a suction, and then we'll use an adapter that goes on to that pipe, and it just sucks it out, and we'll be starting this engine in around a minute. Okay, so let's get set up and let's do that. Okay, so we disconnect the pipe. Most of these are clips that come down. Little white clip goes down, and then we just remove the pipe to the side. Then we get our adapter. Adapter will just go straight in here and come in from this side. Bit easier. And straight in. And then we connect it up to our oil pump and then start sucking. And what we will get now shortly is fuel coming up this pipe here. There we go. See the fuel coming up? That's perfect. That's all we need to do. Disconnect it there. Connect back in. And that is it. So now we have this is filled full of fuel. Now there is going to be a little bit of an air gap in here because we did run the engine, but if you haven't started the engine, you might have a small little air bubble there. There might be a small little judder in it, but the car will start up and it will run perfect. So we're going to go do that now. This is going to take a couple of seconds to start because there is an airlock there, but let's go and do it. Okay, so let's go start the engine. It might struggle or it might start up straight away. There is probably an airlock in from when we started it earlier on with no fuel in it, but let's see how she goes. Okay, a little bit of a miss there. And that's what you might get as well. But as you can see, start it up straight away, and this will run now perfectly. You leave it run for a couple of seconds if you want, just to let all that fuel get around. We'll check it for any error codes because we would probably had put an error code into the system, but that's the best and easiest way to bleed out your fuel filter before you attempt to start the engine. Sometimes if you start the engine, as you said, you get an airlock in the system, and then you have to go further down to the pump to try and get that airlock out. Now what happens is if you don't do this process and you just try and turn that engine over and over, diesel is actually a lubricant. If you feel it, it's quite a little bit slimy, I suppose you could call it, but it's a lubricant and it lubricates the metal inside the fuel pump. So when there's no fuel in the fuel pump like that there was there, you're just getting metal on metal, and you can actually do damage to your fuel pump, and they're quite expensive. So this is the best way to do it, and it'll save you a massive headache. So hope it helps. You don't need massive equipment to do it. You just need to know which pipe to go onto. Okay? Take it easy. Have a good one. Okay, so the card logged a fault code. It done it when we were turning the engine over for demonstrations there to show you the system getting airlocked. So what came up in the system was fuel pressure regulator, pressure too low, and that's because there was no fuel in the system, so it logged the fault code. So we're going to delete that out. It didn't put the light on the dash, but we're going to delete it out because if we leave it in the system, we don't do it. Look, if ever goes to another garage and they read that fault code, it might confuse them in what they're doing, and they replace a part that they don't need to replace. But ultimately, look, it can put a light on very easily, and it just goes from something simple, changing a fuel filter, to now you have an engine light on. You have to try and get the code read and deleted, and it can just turn something into a massive headache. So for something as quick as that, bleeding it out, which takes around, as you've seen there, 30 seconds, it can save you a lot of issues. So we're going to go ahead and delete this because we've got the diagnostics hooked up. Okay, so don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you again on the next video.